2 years ago, we had a dining and living room space for our homeschool that was filled with over 11 years worth of homeschool materials. So you can imagine there were bookcases full of books, there were crafts and projects, there were activities, science experiments. We had so many things that we had accumulated and loved all the way through, but disaster struck. We had to leave our home behind and every single thing in it. So this is what we did when we had to start our homeschool all over again. Hi, I'm Veronica, and I share resources and encouragement on my website, nurturingconnectionshomeschool.com. If you haven't visited just yet, I want to encourage you to check it out. I have a member freebie section where you can sign up with your email and receive instant access to my printable library and my masterclass, Nurturing Connections in Your Homeschool. So I pray it blesses you. Today, what I am sharing are the resources that I had to put together when we started all over again with our homeschool. So just a little bit of the backstory. We had our home for 7 years, and we experienced a lot of different health issues along the way that ultimately culminated in us discovering that it was filled with mold. And not just a little bit of mold, but it was everywhere. It was due to builder negligence, so we had to deal with all of that. But we moved out almost 2 years ago. We went into an Airbnb. We went into a rental that was half the size of our home for 8 months. Then we went to live with family, which was even half that size. And then we're now in an Airbnb as we're looking for a home. So we're very mold sensitized. It's led to a number of things there, but by God's grace, we are healing. We have been well provided for, thank God. And through that process, I can honestly say it's been very eye-opening and really getting down to what is most important. That is my slogan, connect with what matters most. And so we've had to work through that. What does matter most? What do we need to homeschool, and how to homeschool effectively? And that's something that I've had to rediscover as we've started from nothing. So back up July 3rd, 2024, we moved out into an Airbnb, and we went straight to a store to get clothing items that we could wear. Walked into this space that was furnished, of course, but we didn't know what was coming next. Where do we start? And so for us, faith is the most important thing. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto us. And so we started with Bibles. We started our very first purchase after clothing and physical needs was our Bibles. And so did want to share my girls' Bibles with you because I thought they're so well done. These are the Curated Bibles. They've since painted them here. The Curated Bibles are for very creative girls. And so it has places like this with scripture to color. There are pictures throughout. You can see a little whale there. It does have the commentary, and you can actually get this in an ESV or KJV version. I don't know if they have any others out there, but we did purchase these. It was very therapeutic to be able to color, listen to the word, and dive in and go deeper with their understanding and meditation of the word. So Bibles were first, absolutely. After that, it was school supplies. So basic school supplies, everybody got a pencil pouch, and we just filled it with pens, pencils, glue sticks, scissors, markers, pencil colors, and crayons. So that was it. Bare bones, very simple. Got all of this on sale. So that was really, really helpful. Number 3, I did get everybody a binder for morning time. So if you're familiar with my channel, we have always done a group study of some sort where we gather together to read the word and to learn more about God and his world. So this could be geography, it could be history, it could be science, which is just a number of different activities that we do during that time. And so what I decided to do to get organized with it all was to get everybody a binder, and we just got some loose leaf paper and basically as we did activities and different things during our morning time, we just started to put them into these binders. So that kept things simple, and it was easy to maintain, and it's something we're still using. We just added in. I don't have to think ahead of time of, are we going to organize it here or put it here? It just goes in the binder. We have dividers and we just kind of place it where it goes. So kept that simple. But yes, organizers were huge for me. I needed a place for everything, and not having a ton of space meant that we had to utilize our space very, very effectively. So I did some very simple things like a little caddy like this to put my teaching supplies in. Every child got a canvas bin. Just keep everything that they use for school in their individual bins. So we have those in the living space. I'll include some of the links below if you wanted to check any of these items out. Some are affiliate links, some are not. If they are affiliate links, that means that I'll get a teeny tiny commission if you purchase through that link, but it will not be at any additional cost to you. So just sharing what I love, what helped us, what we needed in this time of starting all over again. Timers were huge, so I did rebuy my favorite timer. It stands up and you can kind of see visually how much time we have left. We use this for our group time, and then individual kitchen timers that the kids use for when they're reading or typing. It'll say on their student checklist, you know, type for 15 minutes or whatever it is, and so they have their timers so they can manage their time on their own. The next thing I did was I bought magnetic pouches. Why? One of the most important parts of homeschooling is order. We have to have order in our homes in order for our homeschools to function. It's like going into a school setting and imagining everything a mess and books everywhere and food or whatever, and you know, trying to teach in that environment would be almost impossible. And so when it comes to homeschooling, I always say you start with the home first, you start with the heart first, and then you work into bringing order into your spaces. And whatever those spaces look like, however big, small they are, it is up to us to bring in that order. Now, I know that, you know, for some of us that may be easier or harder than others. There's, you know, we say things like, I'm a type B mom or type C or something along those lines of, you know, order's not that important to me. But at the end of the day, homeschooling is not about us. It's about equipping our children for their futures and what God has for them. And children thrive on order. They thrive on structure. They thrive on routines and rhythms. And when disaster strikes or illness strikes or just trying to get a new homeschool running, you want to make sure you bring in that order first. It will be very difficult to manage a homeschool when the home is disordered. So I've always used something like this, these magnetic pouches that are just that. These are magnets, they go on the refrigerator. I can easily replace the papers that are in here, but these include our chore charts, they include kitchen duties, they may include a schedule sometimes. When the kids were little bitty, we would use agenda cards, and these are all free on my website if you want to check it out. It would say things like Bible, breakfast, math, outdoor time. And so there were these little cards that we put magnets on, and we'd stick them on the fridge, and then we'd take them off throughout the day so they could see what was coming next. And so magnetic pouches have been really, really helpful for me because I can swap it out whenever I need to, but it gives the kids that order. They know what to expect. They know how to help keep the home clean and ordered, and it's been such a helpful tool, so I stick with those. I love those magnetic pouches. Another organizer I use are clipboards. So again, didn't get very expensive ones at all, but clipboards for schedules. I can post these up. I have a clipboard for just kind of my own to-do list or mail that I need to get to that is near my little workspace, which is a crate right there. When kids were little and whenever we need a quick reminder, I used to use clipboards for their morning routines. And so this is just a sheet protector. Morning routines are on there, nighttime as well. And I would just attach a dry erase marker, place this by their bed. They'd wake up, see good morning, and then it would just guide them through what they needed to get done in the morning before breakfast. So I love clipboards for that. It's something tangible, visible. They'd come down. Here's my morning routines chart, and then we can move on with our day. So these are also available in member freebies. I have an entire video that I can link below, and you can check it out if you're interested in setting those up for your kids. So morning routines are important, bedtime routines are important, getting your chores in place, a schedule or an agenda of some sort. We didn't always go with specific times, but we did, or we do usually have a flow to our day, a rhythm to our day. This is what comes first, second, third, fourth, and so forth. Everything happens before screens and friends. So that's kind of what keeps us on track of these are the things we need to do. It's manage the home and manage our school before we can do all the other stuff. So our little motto, we work hard to play hard. And that keeps everyone on track. And this helps me keep everyone on track so that I know what's taking place visually. So other than organizers, I then needed my teaching materials. So I try to keep this as simple as possible. I went to kind of dollar type stores, got some dry erase boards like this, just a few different sizes that I could easily take with my caddy and visually draw out anything that needed to be visually seen. So dry erase boards were key. The kids also got these LED tablet boards that work really, really well for just quick math problems, just kind of thinking out through something, taking some quick notes that don't need to be on paper. So these worked out really, really well. We still use them quite a bit. Then I needed a printer, so definitely needed a printer. That was a big one. But after that were the binding tools. So I have an entire video, I can link that to, on what I used to bind different things. I had all sorts of binding machines at the old house. We had the combs and the spirals and the Pro-Click, and I had to narrow all that down. So I just got a 3-hole puncher and then one that does for more of these spiral spines. So these are the Pro-Click. They're not exactly that brand, but they open and close. And so I use this for the kids' student planners. Now this, in full disclosure, I didn't buy it till later. And now if I had to go back, I would have done this from the very beginning. These student planners are so key to our days functioning smoothly. So just like I have the home going with all these different charts on the refrigerator and so forth, this guides the kids. They know what is expected of them on a particular school day. So they work through their checklist. If they need me, of course, I'm here. I'm working my way around. But this student planner is something that I finally put up in my shop if you want to check it out. But it has a number of different layouts that you can use. I just filled out one copy and then made copies to bind here to make it very, very simple. Each of the children right now is working on living with intention goals. So dailies down here are faith, relationships, or being a blessing to others, cultivating their minds, doing their bodies well, home, and creativity. And so we talk more about that. There's some sheets in the front that break that down a bit further. But these are the things that we're working toward. We want to live with intention wherever we are, whatever our circumstances are. We want to make sure that each and every day we are rooting ourselves in the Word of God. We're in prayer, in fellowship with others, that we are taking care of our spaces, our home, or wherever we live at that moment, that we're taking care of our bodies, that we're taking care of our minds, and that we are cultivating our creativity to serve others, to bless others, and to honor the Lord with those gifts and talents. So this student planner is set up to cultivate that in the children, to teach them work ethic, to help them develop those skills that they're going to need in the future as they transition into adulthood. So binding this was key. Having, stapled booklets here and there wasn't as helpful, so I would have done that from the beginning instead of waiting for that purchase. But definitely binding tools have been helpful. After that, I needed maps, so I did get just some foldable maps that we could refer to when we needed to. And then books. So let's talk about books for just a little bit. I had to be very selective. Okay, I don't have bookcases anymore. I have just a few crates in the house. So Books, I just chose a few key novels that I found on the Generations website. We did the Patricia St. John's readers or novels. There was a whole set of them on there that I purchased. I've also started purchasing their hardback Christian classics. So these have also been a part of our new library that I wanted to keep on hand. I didn't grow up reading Christian classics. I didn't even know they were around. I didn't know they existed. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I didn't. So I wanted to make sure I have a few on hand as I'm putting together a new little library. It'll never be as big as before, but what we do have will be pointing our children to Christ. And so I have these. I also purchased the Moody series. That's another publishing company altogether. But again, good books that point children to Christ. That is what I'm looking at. I did rebuy some of the Berenstain Bears, but the Living Lights collection. Living Lights are faith-based. And so we're working on being intentional about what's coming into the home. We can't have a lot of books because of our mold sensitivity. Books kind of collect dust and things like that. So I did end up purchasing some Kindles. That was a first for us. I am a paper person. I write on paper. I don't have anything digital. I have books in my hand. I love the feeling of a good book. But because we cannot have that right now, we cannot be bringing in library books into our home and all of that, I decided to purchase Kindles for the kids. So love-hate relationship with this. I know it came with like Amazon Kids or something like that. I don't particularly like that. These are books that I may not agree with. They call them safe, but a lot of the topic lines and the things that they consider safe isn't necessarily good. And so the way we've used these is I basically choose the books and send them over to their Kindles, and those are the books that they'll be reading. We did need these as well for, like, one of my daughters is doing classical conversation, so we were able to get some of the books that way through Amazon Unlimited. I know Canon Books had some really good novels that we were able to access for free or included with the subscription. And then we also use Libby. So Libby is how we can check out library books on our Kindles. So that has been helpful when we needed some extra books to read. So we're working through this a little bit. I don't love that some of the best books, like our Christian classics, are not going to be on here. So it's trying to find a balance where we don't accumulate too much and we have this option, but we're still being intentional about what goes into the home with this option. So hope that makes sense. Then we needed to purchase curriculums. So for math, we kept it simple with CTC Math. It's all online, and then they all just got a spiral notebook to work out their problems. We've loved it. I'll probably do a review on that later. Love CTC Math so far. It's been a great fit. You could do a diagnostic. They kind of jump in where they are. They can get access to K-12. So if a child is in 8th grade and they start struggling with something in fractions, they can actually access the 7th grade or 6th grade section just on fractions and then be able to come back. And so I love it. I love it, love it, love it. That's been a huge help. We don't have to lug around different books and things like that. It's all online. So that's what we're using for math. And then I had to choose all the other curriculums. I had to find something that was affordable. I had to find something that was meaningful. And for us, we went back to Generations. So I have started accumulating a small Generations curriculum library again. I'm just rebuying some of the books. Now they have a second edition to this one, so I was able to purchase a second edition. As we've experienced this, as we've gone through having to streamline our resources, having to be very selective about what comes into the home because we don't have a lot of space. We have a limited amount of space, and I've had to be very intentional about what we chose. So Generations for me keeps our eyes focused on the Lord, on His truth, on His impact in the world through history, through science. Everything points back to Him. And it's what I want to ultimately cultivate in our children. And so that is what I've opted to continue with as we move forward in our homeschools. So that is what I've managed to pull together in the past year and a half since we've been displaced. If you're just starting out, you don't need a ton. You don't need all the bells and whistles. You don't need all the pretty stuff. You can make do with folders and a good quality curriculum, some great books, and just some of the basics that help bring order to your home, to your homeschool, and help you to teach your children the skills that they'll need as they move forward. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. Please drop them below. And I'd love to hear from you as well. If you've ever experienced something like this or you're starting out, what are your non-negotiables? What are the things you absolutely needed to be successful in your homeschools? Love to hear from you. Share them below. Like and subscribe on your way out if this is helpful so that it can reach more homeschool moms that could use these resources as well. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.